Recently, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) warned of flash floods in some parts of the country. Experts are now warning of certain diseases that could spread as a result of this. Per and polyfluoroalkyl substances is an emerging environmental contaminant that I have mentioned poses as a threat to public health. China, Indonesia, Bangladesh are some of the countries that have been hit by floods this year. Now, to help us understand the dangers of this and the DNA damage it could cause is an environmentalist and public health researcher, Abdullahi Aborode. Thank you so much for joining us. He joins us from Starkville, Mississippi, in the United States. Now, to start off, could you briefly explain what this is about as the PFAS?
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, PFAS is perfluoroalkyl compound or substance. It's one of the most persistent chemicals that you can find in the environment. So that is why they give it a name known as forever chemicals, because it accumulates in the environment and it doesn't get easily removed from the environment. So it sticks to the environment. It interacts with every possible substance that you can find to interact with in the environment. So it's toxic chemicals that scientists in the world are trying to work on currently to find a way of accumulating it or remediating it away from the environment. And yeah, so.
All right, so we've seen severe flooding in countries like China, Indonesia, and Bangladesh this year, and Nigeria is now facing similar threats. How do flooding events increase the risk of PFAS?
All right, as we know that flooding is one of the most environmental changes that actually affect people, human, animals, and even critical infrastructures in the environment. And currently, flooding doesn't come alone. It's as it comes, it spread or it carry away, sediment, waters, contaminated waters, industrial sewage, effluent. It carries along whenever we have a flooding. So basically, when we have like a particular place or surroundings that is highly detected with PFAS or other toxic chemicals, this flooding can actually spread these chemicals around, and directly or indirectly it bring it to places that have not been contaminated with these toxic chemicals. So that is why flooding is very dangerous. It's a dangerous supplement or dangerous uh, drivers, to spread PFAS and other toxic chemicals around in the environment.
Is there enough public awareness or government support and regulations around PFAS in Nigeria today? And are certain groups like children or pregnant women more vulnerable to these chemicals?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a very brilliant question. So I published a paper on PFAS research in Nigeria, where we in Environmental Health Insight. So it's one of the reputable journals for environmental research or environmental science research. So basically, we try to modify and tell the government and federal agencies and some other specified agencies to create more awareness about PFAS, because there are some high-income countries that have now take it they take more engagement and involvement in it. And there are some scientists that are actually working on PFAS and their detection in Nigeria specifically. But it's not enough. We have a limited research, maybe because of shortage of funding and critical involvement of government funding and external fundings and scientist awareness. So it has really reduced the awareness and people trying to know the current situation of PFAS. So there is a paper currently that was published by some scientists that they try to understand the effect of PFAS in Akinyele, I think it's Akinyele Lake in Ibadan. So, and they find out that there is sufficient presence of PFAS. We have in PFAS we have a lot of we have thousands of PFAS that can be detected because they create chain. It's more of like a chain. So they found out the most commonly detected PFAS, which is PFOA and PFOS, that is perfluorooctanein sulfonate and perfluorooctanic acid. So apart from these two commonly PFAS that you find out, they even find out that there are still some undetected PFAS that have not been named yet. This shows that if other scientists and government and institutions are like they are really funding or they are really into this kind of research and trying to understand how this can directly affect human and the environment. We actually help us in creating a regulatory framework that will actually help us to like understand the quantity that we must have in our environment and how we can remediate it away from our environment. So I believe that there should be more of a creation of awareness to the public, educating the public about these toxic chemicals, and I think we will go a long way if we can actually do that.
Environmentalist and public health researcher Abdullahi Aborode, thank you so much for talking to us.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.